Hi. So, podcast time. It's time for our true discussion about BAPS, Black American Princesses. And we know that the screenwriter for BAPS is Troy Beyer, who is an author and American psychologist who is in New York City. She is an African American woman. Her father is of Jewish descent. He's actually an Ashkenazi Jewish descent, and her mother is from East Africa. Miss Beyer has been in the entertainment field since the 90s. But Beyer was a regular on Dynasty. She played Jackie Devereaux, who was Dominique Devereaux's daughter. So from late 80s, I'm gonna say 85, 86, somewhere around there, she was already on television. So she was in the heart of 80s, 90s TV. She understands that Black women in Hollywood, there were only small roles that you were going for. And Halle Berry's filmography was starting to grow, and we start seeing her playing these roles that were predominantly for Black women of the time. So she was a crackhead, which is a good move for someone so pretty to play an ugly role. So she was a crackhead, I believe, in one of Spike Lee's movies. I know I have a note somewhere which movie it was because I'm completely blanking. And she also played a crackhead. Wasn't it New Jack City? No, it was one of those movies. I forget what it was. But she played crackhead 2 times. So ugly role, drug role, that sort of thing. But it's good to get those roles out of the way. Say you already do that. So if you have scripts that come up in the future, you can say that I've already done that role, thank you, but no thanks. Black women would play, either a mom or, depending on what she looked like, a crackhead or a stripper. And so she did play a stripper in, was it The Last Boy Scout? And I believe that one was definitely before BAPS, 1997. So she already played those roles. And for those roles, it's not a role that continues on. Those roles, you're going to die. You're going to be shot or killed or whatever. You're just the eye candy for that moment, i.e. the last Boy Scout you're it for the moment, and then you're dead. But it's not a long-lasting role. So BAPS, I liked it. It was a buddy comedy for Black women. As a Black female, we've already done a princess type of thing. We just make a Black princess. We'll set it in the South. It'll make sense. We'll give her a frog as a friend, and then we'll roll on. So that's the type of fairy tales that we get. So BAPS being a fairy tale, quote unquote, it's funny, it's hilarious for BAPS to actually happen, especially at this time in Halle Berry's life, is actually interesting. And I like the way that Robert Townsend put it out that way. BAPS was filmed in 1997. It does look kind of old school, but you have to understand that either 1996 or 95, I can't remember what it was, but we have the Bonner Hair Show. And the Bonner Hair Show, everything is big. So when they're on the airplane and their hair is blocking the screen, you have to know the scene that happened before then. They're at the club. Her and her bestie are at the club. Her and Mickey are at the club. And they are, saved or whatever by their Prince Charming, because there's 2 dudes at the bar doing the typical stuff that guys at the club do to Black women. It just seems like if you're at the club, they didn't even get a drink bought for them. So that's even funnier, because even the possessiveness, or you're here and I was talking to you, and he grabs her as if that's his property, and that happening is true, and it is a real thing. But just think that if Niecy was actually bought a drink, then you can imagine the level of possessiveness that happens at the time. That if you drink the drink, you take the drink, then that means that you've made a commitment, even though it shouldn't be that way, but that is how it is. And so when they go to the bar, they don't get the rest of the fairy tale. The fancy drink, the whole date night, the whole perfect evening is ruined by, they're just them being them, not understanding how important it is. Those little things are important. So for them to be on the plane with the big hair makes sense, because I bet all night the boyfriends and all their shenanigans were being talked about all night, and how we did, and I can't believe that he did, and he just smushed my dreams, and I'll show him, blah, blah, blah. And so as all of these things are going, the hairdo is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, because she's motivated. She's, excited, and she probably didn't get any sleep. They didn't get any sleep last night. This is an adventure. This is something that is going to change their lives, for the worse, for the better. You never know. You have to take that leap. So when they take that leap, that's when they get this big hair. And so I like when they're on the plane, and Niecy's reading the etiquette book, because she knows, it's just like having a drink that whole night, and you're just kind of pumped, and then now everything is settled down, and you're kind of like realizing, like, oh, okay, all right. Maybe some things went a little overboard on some things. Maybe just tone it down a little bit. So we're reading the etiquette book. So when we do actually meet this person, we're a little bit toned down. But the hair it is what it is. It's already been bigified. There's a crown. She's got a crown going on. So this is the persona that they want to project in Hollywood. They're going, we have to look like movie stars. She makes that comment, because everything is big in Hollywood, big and grand. So that's what their hair is. I really don't know what was taken out of the original script, but I can kind of guess. So, for example, in the very beginning, we see the shot of Niecy and Mickey's apartment. I think everybody's assuming that they're hood or in the ghetto. I don't get that from the pan, or the, they show their apartment. So you're seeing people on their balcony, an apartment that has fire escapes, and you got people, hanging out on the window, and they're, talking to people, on the neighborhood, and some of them are sitting on the fire escape itself. I didn't hear any like gunshots. I didn't hear any like a whole bunch of sirens or people screaming. This is what you see. You see people in this apartment kind of hanging out, doing regular stuff. So I don't know why, or just because it's a stereotypical, the way that they are dressed, their nails, and all that other stuff, why it makes it automatically that they're hood girls. So that I don't agree with. I don't think that they are living in quote unquote hood, or in the ghetto, or projects, or whatever it is that their stereotype is putting out there. But I like that Robert Townsend showed that, because that's his little way of saying what you're thinking they are. You know, I showed you their nails, I showed you the gold tooth, I showed you all the stereotypical things. Where you take it is where you take it. I'm going to show you where they live now. And if your thought process is not modified to say, hey, maybe they're a little bit, you know, I don't want to say better, but maybe they're not in that position that I was assuming that they were in, that they're broke, they've got a whole bunch of, you know, kids, you know, blah, blah, blah. They're uneducated, that sort of thing. Whatever it is that you brought to their character based on what you just saw at their place of employment, their coffee shop place, then, you know, that's kind of on you. I think Robert Townsend showed the apartment complex, the outside, for that reason. So hopefully someone could, you know, if you're watching it, but as I see it, okay, I know where they are. They're like in an apartment like I am. Like as a undergrad, I lived in a pretty, it wasn't in the hood, but it wasn't the best place. I had place to move up to. Let's just say that. So that's where they're at. They are, you see Mickey saying, you know, when they're passing, you know, they've already had their conversation with their boyfriends. You're not using our whole life savings on a trip to California. They have saved up their money for something better. There's always a starting point, you know, it just doesn't materialize. Just like the boyfriend says, like your dreams are powered for sound or video, for whatever he says. There's always a starting point, and that's where they're at. And so for Robert Townsend to pan, to show the outside of their apartment complex, and then to show the apartment on the inside, you'll notice that he just doesn't go straight to them when they're doing their hair. You hear them, they're having their conversation, and he comes in through the door where you see the wall. And then the first part that you see all the pictures of, you know, it seems like magazine cutouts of black women and their hair. This whole wall, when you first see it, straight hair, probably relaxed hair, some sort of, there's also pictures of some sort of line of hair products that are there, but it's mainly straight hair. And then as the camera pans, you see Mickey's baby daddy, and it's in this artistic form. I think Marilyn Monroe had this picture created. It's this 4 type of pictures in this different sort of colors, but there's a man there, and he looks kind of like he's got locks. He looks as if he would be Bob Marley, or maybe one of the Marley family members, and that's Mickey's baby's daddy. So in that very beginning, if you know about Black history and about Black history, especially the hair part of it, when we pass the picture of Mickey baby's daddy, we go to Niecy's world, and that's what the wall says. It says Niecy's world in this gold glittery writing. And in Niecy's world, you have the first thing that you see right next to these words is this black and white photo of this woman with these free-form locks. And free-form locks are the locks of hair that have been allowed to form however they want to form. But in Niecy's world, you see this black and white picture of course, it's got to be a woman in Africa. I don't know about the background, but the background does look a little like it. She's in her natural habitat, probably in Africa, but it's a beautiful free-form style of hair that is not popular at all in America. But that's a natural way of forming the hair, or wearing the hair in a very regal like crown on the head, because our hair is naturally going to do it. It's designed to be in a locked state and in this very regal, big statement making hair pattern. So that's in one of the first pictures that you see. And then you also see like this tapestry. I'm thinking that it's definitely on a canvas. It's an older sort of picture. You can see when the camera pans towards it, because you're still hearing the conversation between Niecy and Mickey or whatever they're talking about. And if you're paying attention to just the conversation, all this visual stuff is not going to mean anything to you, because you're paying attention to what they're saying. You're trying to laugh, you're trying to say, get what they're saying. But if you're paying attention to the pictures, this one canvas is a painting, because you can see that the canvas has come up from the wood backing. So you kind of see this off a little bit. And the little painting is of slave workers in the cotton field. So you see a little cotton, and you see their little, and you can see their hair. So a lot of the times the hair was very, very damaged, very dry, and just not what an African woman would be used to. It wouldn't be the crown that she would be used to. So that alone, historically, that was a way to kind of denigrate, and the confidence level just not there. And then if you're not confident, if you're not doing it, you would be easier to be subdued and do whatever and give up, basically. You wouldn't strive for anything more. So I think that those panning and going through the different pictures right before you see them in the kitchen doing their hair, and how much of hair is in Niecy's life and in Niecy's world. Black women, we've always had to have this kitchen time. So her getting her hair done in the kitchen it's just nostalgic. In a female buddy comedy, and mind you, in 1995, the buddy comedy Bad Boys was huge. And so I just think that B.A.P.S is just a female buddy comedy. But for B.A.P.S, I don't think it was anything intended to be mean, bad. I really truly believe that this movie, B.A.P.S, was Halle Berry's star vehicle. It's a script that's written specifically for an artist, an actor, to get them into Hollywood. I think that this one was her way in, because of course she's so pretty. She started off in beauty contest. B.A.P.S came just at that time. She's got some Spike Lee movies, she's got some other roles. It's not anything like super big, but she's in Hollywood. Her name is out there, people know her, and she's worked with some pretty significant actors and producers and directors and writers and all these other things. If you already come out with a movie where you've basically busted out every single stereotype, played every single role in this one movie, basically you're the stereotypical this, you're a stereotypical, people think you're a hooker, they're just waiting for you to sleep with this old man. All of these things are right here in this one movie. So if you're offered anything like that after this movie, you can say, no, I've already done that. This, check out, B.A.P.S. I've already done that type of role. So I think that this was her star vehicle. Robert Townsend has done the Hollywood shuffle. He's basically said, this is what's going to happen. This is going to continue to happen to Black actors. Let's just use it to our advantage and make a satirical, funny comedy. Not everyone's going to find it funny. I found it hysterical. I found B.A.P.S hysterical. You can tell that they had fun. They had fun in that movie. It was something that not only got Halle Berry's mind off her tragic, she's even admitted herself that this relationship really put her in a dark place where ending her life was an option for that. And that's serious stuff. So to have BAPS be not serious, to be somewhere where she could, you know, express something that's funny, because she's, you know, married to an Atlanta Brave. I don't think that that was a coinky-dink, that it's 1997. The characters are from Georgia and Atlanta, somewhere in Georgia. It is a very real thing. The nails right in the beginning is funny because it's true. That was 1997. It's 2019 now. Those long nails, Megan the stallion or something like that. She has a video or is a commercial, I forget what it was, but these are the long nails that you see in BAPS in 1997. So it's a thing. Big hair, long, you know, you can't type with these nails. I don't know how can you even wipe your butt with these nails? I don't know. I don't want to know. But it is a thing. It is a fashion thing. So that being on one of the first scenes is hysterical. And I know that Halle Berry is from Ohio and has been in LA, has been in New York. But that Southern style, that look, it's strictly a Southern thing. It is. But for the two characters, Niecy and Mickey, to come from, but it's a smaller town, not necessarily big old Atlanta. But those two things, the Bonner Hair Show that was just right before in Atlanta, and the nails. When they get off the plane, you see them in a very kind of, I wouldn't say leather, but more of a pleather, very colorful sort of outfit. And that was the style back then. So to say 1997, you should be wearing something different. No, that's actually correct. That would have been the outfit. They could have bought that outfit from the store the day before. That's how styling that outfit is. Or it's just very colorful. And again, I don't know what was taken out, but I could imagine a lot of the things were just converted from a whole bunch of worded scenes to just pictures or just visual. And I do like when, I forget who said it, but someone said, Halle Berry's too pretty to be dressed up like that. That was the point. BAPS being her star vehicle, especially at a time when she's most vulnerable. She's going through this relationship. She's got some doubts, I'm pretty sure. All of these things are ripe for, you know, things to go wrong in your Hollywood career. So if you got Spike Lee and if you got Robert Townsend, who already know, and all these other black women that are helping her through this, the 90s, when it's crazy in the 90s, starting in 93, and we've got, you know, music crossovers, we've got movie crossovers, we've got models acting, we've got musicians acting, we've got all this meshing together, we've got all this crossover. So for Halle Berry to be right there, I believe that her career has been guided, and BAPS is this first career move saying, hey, if you run through these little roles right here like this, you'd be able to pick what you want. So for example, the Bad Boys, you've got Téa Leoni, that is the lead girl. And then you have a model actress. The model, and this is, you've seen it in this dynamic in other movies. So you've got the white lead actress who's the love interest of whatever the lead character is. And in the 90s, it didn't matter whether the lead actor was black or white. it was just a male, and the female actress, lead actress, or the supporting actress, the girlfriend interest, would have been white. And if there was a black woman in there, she would be a model, or not as known for the other lead actress. And this one in Bad Boys, I believe she was a model in her own right. I don't think that she was actress acting like a model. I think she was a model acting as a model in the movie. And so she gets killed. And so that type of character would have been where Halle Berry would have been placed each time. Hey, we need a pretty girl. Boop. Here, we need a pretty girl. Boop. And I don't think that that's what they wanted her to do. So B.A.P.S, here you go. You're not necessarily the pretty girl, but you're the lead. You're in there, and you're running through all of these stereotypes. Just doing it. And I liked the other part where she's dancing. I thought that was hilarious, just because I really do think that that was kind of poking fun at her beauty pageant time. Because if you notice, she did not do a beauty pageant where they had a talent part of it. It's a interview, swimsuit, and then evening gown or whatever. But there's no talent like the purpose of B.A.P.S was. The purpose of B.A.P.S was not to be like the best movie ever. It was to, hey girl, we're here with you. We know that you're going through this, girl. We're going to go through this together, and you can use this as a way to, you know, laugh things off, laugh at yourself. And then her dancing is like, you have more talent than just what people would expect, especially if you're a black female. They always think that you could dance. And I love that she, on this B.A.P.S one, she can't dance. I can't dance, I can't sing, I can't do any of that sort of stuff, but it's expectation that as a black female, that these things that you inherently know how to do. Same thing with, I remember Whitney Houston, one of the many interviews that she's had, she's getting hammered. She's not black enough. She's not this. And she's just trying to use her talent to sing, but she's damned if she does. She's damned if she doesn't, because she's too white for black audiences. She's too black for white audiences. She's just nowhere. She can't dance, but she can sing. But she can't do this. So she can't win for losing. And so if you remember, after B.A.P.S, if you look at Halle Berry's filmography after B.A.P.S, she didn't play any, you know, girlfriend, I'm gonna get shot again, like on in like the model in Bad Boys. She didn't get any more crackhead roles. She didn't get a B.A.P.S role. The next role that she did was on Bullworth, and in a similar vein, but more smart, is the B.A.P.S is a little bit more, it's funny, but more, it is a different sort of comedy. And I like the comparison to Waterboy. I've personally only seen Waterboy once, because I used to have an aversion to Adam Sandler. I did not like him. I have to say, I did not like him. And for Waterboy, that was in the time that I didn't like him. But Spanglish, and I will be, I'm so happy that you guys did Spanglish also. Oh my gosh. Spanglish was the one movie that totally 180 on Adam Sandler. I absolutely love Adam Sandler now, just because of Spanglish. And I've seen a lot of his movies, and I had to go back and watch Waterboy, since you guys did mention that. And I can see where the comparison would be, but they're completely different sort of things. Niecy and Mickey are not just these one-dimensional, two-dimensional kind of fake characters. They're real characters. And as a Black female, I relate to this buddy comedy. My buddy, my Mickey, we rolled through middle school, high school, and college together. We went all the way to grad school with each other. So we've gone through all of the different phases of our lives and have met a lot of those same dudes. Those characters, they were real. The Faison love one, the guy with the eyes. Hey, I absolutely loved when he pushed her arm and he's pushing her. That's some real stuff. Real stuff, not exaggerating. Yes, that has happened, but having these stories and experiences, like I take you back on the plane when they're both obviously, they're trying to be cool, but they're nervous as F, but they still kind of keep their stuff together. Mickey's asking us questions. Did you overdo it with our hair? And she's asking us questions about they have a polo club. They're talking about, I don't know how to play polo. And when they're talking about maybe we should do about the basketball, that's kind of breaking their anxiety, their tension. And even though they're on the plane and it's probably a little loud, that's how you get with your girls, when you're just that passionate. And if it's just you and your bestie, you're in your own little world. The volume of what's going on, especially if it's a hearty laugh, like that was, they said it together. Yeah, basketball, yeah. They say it all together. The level, the volume is going to be turned up no matter what. So that part, I know, stereotypical, but it happens. That is a real thing, especially if it's just you and your girl and you're talking about whatever it is that you're talking about. The other thing I really do like, and it goes back to all the pictures and stuff in the apartment and the hair, is in 1992, we've got Boomerang, and I believe that same year, 1992, 93, Halle Berry is playing this character, which is Queen. For Halle Berry to play this role of Queen, she had to know there were actual laws. So what they had in Louisiana and some, I don't know, in Georgia, I don't know about, but it wouldn't be surprising to me if there were something like this. But they had these Tignon laws. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's Tignon laws. And what it did is it kind of required, if you were mulatto, octamaroon, if you were anything like that, that you had to wear a headdress around you had to wear something around your hair. So whether it was like a scarf or whatever it was. And so a lot of Black women got very creative with this new law. So what they ended up doing was wearing very colorful or very ethnic sort of head wraps, and then putting their jewels on it. Because again, you're Black, you're female, you're supposed to have nothing. You're supposed to be destitute and poor. And to wear a silk head wrap or even a nice colorful head wrap with your own jewels on it, that was kind of like, okay, I can follow your rules. But then it still kind of puts that status on there because now you've got this big hair wrap with diamonds, pearls, all these different things on there that you're walking around now, showing your wealth and showing your status. So that kind of brings back, they're on the plane, they're going to Hollywood. Their idea of how high society works is big hair, big jewels. So booyah is hilarious on the hair because it's in crystals. It spells something, but it's huge and it's just there. So that totally makes me just smile, and I laughed the whole entire time. I did not find it like degrading or anything like that. The other thing I thought that was hilarious. Okay, I'm going to answer the question about why was Mickey so upset about her hair getting wet. Okay, so yes, there is a thing saying that black women don't like to get their hair wet. It's true, but it's really mainly a time issue. So Mickey being in the pool, you'll see that she's, they're hanging out. Niecy and the I forget what the older man's name is, but Niecy, they're playing basketball, and Mickey is trying to get the little snacks and the little thing, and then that's when she falls over. She's upset. I have two theories of why she's so mad. The first theory, of course, would be why us black women don't like to get our hair wet. If we've already had our hair done, we've already wasted money if we get it wet. Second, it is going to take at least 2 to 3 hours from wet hair to styled hair. There's no way around it. It's not going to be like, oh, you remember when she was, when they did the bidet scene. You always have to have it. If you're going from one lifestyle to a rich lifestyle, there's always going to be a bidet scene. That's just hilarious. It's the first time you see a bidet is like the first time, like if you've ever seen a kitten see itself in the mirror for the first time, and it's bidet. There's always a story with the first time that you've seen a bidet, because it's just a curiosity. Everybody's got to press the button and you get squirted with water. But you'll know when they're talking on the little intercom, and Niecy says, "Oh, we'll be down in 5 minutes," and Mickey says, "Oh, it's more like 5 hours." That's true, because their hair is wet at that time. So from, what did I say? Minimum from wet hair to dry hair, from black hair, it's going to be minimum 3 hours. That's why she was mad, because now she's got 3 hours when all she wanted to do was just hang out in the pool and just chill. But now she's got 3 hours, and you see that Niecy also leaves out of the pool too, because she's the hairdresser. She's got to do Mickey's hair. So 3 hours. That's why I'm thinking that she's upset. The other reason is more than likely because, all right, I'm going to bring you to another movie that you guys looked at. Malcolm X. Very first scene of Malcolm X is when he's getting the chemical relaxer in his hair. And you see them combing it. Oh, you see him combing it through his hair, and you see the older men, they laugh, they're laughing, because all of that action with that chemical is literally burning your scalp. If you've ever had chemicals in your hair when it was too soon for your chemicals to be in your hair, you will get burned. I mean, scabs, chemical burns in your scalp. So my theory is, not only is Mickey mad that her hair, now she's got to waste 3 hours with, drying and styling the hair to go on to do whatever it is that she's going to be doing for the rest of the day. But what if she is ready for her relaxer? Her hair is not natural, maybe not, because I've seen it wet. And I'm thinking that either she just has really soft, very straight hair, or she has a relaxer. If she does have a relaxer, or chemical relaxer, and her hair just got wet, she just reset herself for 2 weeks. So let's say that Mickey's hair, she has to get her relaxer done every 8 weeks. Let's be very conservative. She has very soft hair, and she doesn't really need a relaxer. She can go natural and just have really pretty hair. So every 8 weeks, Mickey gets a new relaxer. Let's say that her pool time was her 7th week. So when you're about to get your perm, the edges, the kitchen, you remember that part when they were talking about it in Malcolm X? The kitchen back here is looking nappy, is looking rough. There ain't anything you can do. You can't slick the baby hairs down. They need chemicals. So let's say that Mickey's at her, this is their 8 weeks. They left Georgia. They doing this all spontaneously. This is her 8th week. She just got her hair wet. She's got to wait 2 more weeks before she can have her hair chemically done. Or she's going to have a whole bunch of chemical burns in her scalp because her hair has gotten wet. So now what Niecy has to do is she has to do all these things to her hair, to straighten it, to style it, but she can't put a chemical on it. She's got to wait 2 weeks. So that could be the other reason why she's so mad that her hair got wet, because now she's pushing the 10-week mark. And when you've got new growth in your hair and you've got a relaxer, those extra 2 weeks, you're going to be really, really in a destitute situation, because nothing will work. Your hair is not going to look right. Your go-to hairstyle, when you pull it back and put a little ponytail or a bun on it, it's not going to work, because the edges, the new growth it's going to make everything kind of puffy. So there's way more time than what she's willing to give. So I understand. That's more than likely why she's so upset. And there's no reason to explain that other than, again, it's a buddy comedy. Those little things like that will be funny to me and my buddy, because we've been there. We know, girl, Mickey, I know what you're talking about. Damn. That's funny to us. To have to explain a joke like that is no longer a joke. So I like that Robert Townsend kept it. This is like an inside joke between me and my bestie. If you happen to get a giggle at it, then yay, congratulations. But other than that, no. If you didn't get a laugh and you're just like, I don't know what that means, the movie's not for you. So I liked that part, and that was probably, those are the 2 reasons that I would say that why she was so upset. And Niecy's character does give a little bit of explanation to the older guy, because he's like, well, why is she so mad? Oh, she got her hair wet. And that's only explanation that she gives, because usually that explanation is good enough. Granted, he goes on to say, yeah, I can, we can just go into the salon. Niecy's probably thinking like, I'm a salon. I do hair. And we're not going to go to your salon because it's probably not going to be the good salon. And going back to Troy Byers' screenplay, there probably was a scene with kind of like Pretty Woman has the scene where she goes into goes to shopping, and she's kind of basically poo-pooed, and then she comes back when she's all the big mistake, that scene. There was probably a scene like that by way of a white person doing black hair, or and then Niecy showing up this salon thing. There's probably a scene like that. I could see a scene like that being in the vicinity, and then I can see it getting cut out. I don't know if that scene was in there. I know that I've had experience, just like any when you're in college and your college is in a majority white area, you have to go out of Orange County in order to get the proper care for our hair. And there was one time when I just didn't have the time to drive all the way out there, and my friend, she was also busy. This is like our 3rd, 4th year. Things are getting serious. Really have to stop driving out to LA for so often. So I got my hair done at the salon in the mall in Orange County. And, my hair wasn't natural. It was relaxed at that time. And I needed a haircut. That's all I needed. I needed a trim, actually. And he assured me that he's done the Dallas Cowgirls hair, the cheerleaders, the black girls' hair, all that sort of stuff. And I'm looking at his setup, And what I do not see is a stove. And if you look in B.A.P.S, when the time when they are in the kitchen, in Niecy's kitchen, you will see that he's not the stove. The stove I'm talking about is not the stove that you're thinking I'm talking about. The stove, when you have a black hairdresser that knows black hair, they will have this little gray stove. It's like a little gray. It's probably like this, probably about this big. It has a little opening, a little oval opening, and it has this little metal little look to it. That's where your combs go. That's where your metal Marcel curlers go. The ones that go right there. He had none of this. All he had was a little plug-in hair curler that you can get from like Target or whatever. Us as black women, we know and have been told that the little plug-in thing is not going to get hot enough for our hair. So if you're trying to curl it, straighten it, do anything to it, it's not going to get hot enough. It only gets hot enough for a lighter white texture hair. And so I saw that, but I'm already in the seat. We already are been conversating for a while now, and it's just going to be too much trouble. Just let him cut it. And after my haircut, I could see that there definitely was, it looked like, if you've ever seen those little scissors that has the little triangles, the mouth of the scissors are like little triangles. They're commonly for like quilters or for sewers. They put like little zigzag cuts in there. That's what my hair looked like, because he didn't take into account that my hair is textured. He cut it as if it was straight. I like B.A.P.S. I can understand why people don't like it. It makes them feel uncomfortable. And I think it makes people feel uncomfortable because they don't understand the comedy. They don't understand every single situation, which it wasn't designed for everyone to understand. It really was designed as a buddy comedy for black females to watch together. I think B.A.P.S was a star vehicle, because especially with everything that's going on in the 90s, it may seem like 97, things should have progressed from there, but it was more of a statement of what everything was going on, from 93, 94, 95, 96 to 97. Those years were hot years. I mean, we've got, Malcolm X came out in 93. We have, was it 93 or 92? Well, whatever it was, but I think it was 93 where the Oscars came around. So I find it very interesting that in 1993, you have Malcolm X that comes out. It is nominated for, I forget what nominated, Denzel's nominated, and then one other nomination was. And that nomination, I remember it being like, what? Out of everything in that movie, this was the nomination? I think it was like costumes. And then we've got Denzel. And then for Denzel to lose to Al Pacino for Scent of a Woman, that one was kind of a shakeup, because we've got, I think Rodney King is happening. A lot of things are happening where if Hollywood were to try and shake up, now would have been the time if they wanted to. But that didn't happen. And then, interesting enough, in 1997, when B.A.P.S came out, I remember another Al Pacino movie. That one was kind of one of the ones that I really like. I kind of like Al Pacino. But that one was Carlito's Way. That came out at I don't know if it was the same time or around the same time. I don't remember, but I think it was the same year, and maybe the same sort of time in the season. But that one was kind of like you're not going to get any attention anyway. So B.A.P.S came out at the right time, It gave her a place to kind of not be so serious, kind of give her a stage, a funny type of situation when she's going through this very serious, very down situation. So this was something lighthearted and not so serious. It also solidified her in Hollywood as an actress and as an actor, as a serious actor, not just someone that was just another pretty face. So I did like that. And if you notice that it was also Natalie's, the actress Natalie's first role. And if you're Spike Lee and if you're Robert Townsend, and if you're just a black female in Hollywood anyway, you would already know Natalie as the way that she looks and her size. She was only going to be pigeonholed anyway. So this movie, you'll see in the credits, introducing Natalie Luck. So this is one of her first roles. And granted, she does go off and does a couple of TVs, but those are the only things that she'd be able to do anyway. If you know this up front, why not? You still have a job. It just won't be those roles. You're not having this idea that you can play Superman's mama. You know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about? So when you're in this type of Hollywood role, just because you're a black actress or a black actor and now Hollywood is trying to change, they're not going to be roles just written for you. This B.A.P.S was written for Halle Berry as her star vehicle. Just like, I believe, if what is the first one that she came out with? There's a TV show, Living Dolls. If Living Dolls went further, that would have been her star vehicle also. There were other women that played models in this show, but I specifically remember Halle Berry in this short-lived show. It was a very short-lived, Living Dolls. But that would have been her star vehicle. But I believe that B.A.P.S was made for her so she can poo-poo any of these other stereotypical roles that would have been presented to her. I really like your guys' podcast. I like that it gets me thinking, and I love all of the movies that you guys have chosen. Things. Podcasts has always been my thing. iPod is still with the clicker wheel. I still have one of those. So I'm very nostalgic and sentimental about all these things. So I love the movies that you guys have chosen. Questions. I love the hair wet question. Something about the healthy soul food. Soul food, I think it got a negative connotation, especially if you're coming from the South. Oh, it's a lot of lard, a lot of fat. But in actuality, you really can make vegan, plant-based soul food, southern food, whatever it is. There is a lot of ways. So I actually audibly said, what? When I heard this. So when Mickey and Antonio are down in the, they're chit-chatting or whatever, and someone asked, why is she so chaste? Why is she, she wanted to, a rich guy and all that other stuff. Hey. From the beginning, Mickey has been the romantic. She has been the, when they're at the bar. And so you see her face. She's got the, I look so cute, I need a drink type of look. All women, all of us have that. We're in the club, we're looking really cute and everything. And someone's gonna buy me a drink. So she has the look. She's like, aren't you thirsty? She's like, no. And she's like, yes, I'm thirsty. Because she's, heard that's what happens. That's what happens to white girls when they go to the bar. The guy buys them a drink. And then they talk. So she's got all this, I deserve that cute little thing. I want that to happen to me too. And then that is the same thing with Antonio. He comes up to the room, and I don't know where it is. Maybe it's always been lost in translation, but everyone, it seems like guys, I don't know if it's just a guy thing or whatever, what it is, but sex does not necessarily mean love, and love does not necessarily mean that there's going to be sex involved. So when she's talking to Antonio, it's more of like that, just the little cutesy, let's talk and maybe just kiss a little bit, but not all the way. I'm not doing that until I'm married. So why so chaste? She's not a prostitute. She wants this courtship. Maybe there's a promise ring in there, and then maybe we, do all that sort of stuff. But there is this, just because you've got this stereotype, it doesn't mean that she's fast. It doesn't mean that she's going to jump into bed, because I can't remember, but I don't think he's said anything about him being rich. Maybe he has. But even if that is the case, it doesn't mean that she's going to be jumping into bed with him. So it's not like, why so chaste? Don't say it like that. She wants to be romanced. It's just not this, just because she was wearing what she was wearing. We already explained that's the style in the South. It's just not like a hooker style. Just to say that it kind of made it seem like she has no right to be chaste. She has no right to be kind of shy about any of that. It should be like, if Antonio's like, yeah, come on, girl, let's do this, that she should be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. That she has no right to be, no, I'm not gonna do that until I'm married. She has a right to do that. And then the Mike Tyson thing. So it's 97, but there is a lot of, Mike Tyson references. There's all of that, because Mike Tyson was big back then, and that was the joke, but Mike Tyson is a big thing. So yes, she does talk about the boyfriend, and his no job and his no ambitions, but that's really what her thing is. May have came out wrong, and you can kind of see it when she's talking to him in the club. You don't even have a job, or whatever he said, and you see his face, and then you see her face like, oh, dang, I shouldn't have said that, or I shouldn't have said it like that. You can kind of see that was not what she meant to say, like, so harsh. You don't even have a job. It's more like, I really want you to have an ambition. And if you do have an ambition, why aren't you, trying to lay that foundation and make things happen? Oh, and everything, I like that. I don't know if someone said this or whether it's assumed, but everyone assumes that Black women are doing fine, that we don't need any help, that because we don't complain. And the reason why we don't complain, who's going to listen to our complaints? No one's going to save us. We have to save ourselves. So the silent, I wouldn't say brooding, I wouldn't say angry, I wouldn't say any of those things that have been projected on me, especially as a Black woman. I'm not an angry Black woman. I just don't have the time. Most people think that little things, or things that get said about Black women, the stereotypes, all of those things are new. And not new. None of it is new. It is always and will always be some sort of negativity or assumption or something. And that's with any person, anybody. Because I don't know if anyone has been to the Museum of Tolerance. The Museum of Tolerance, if you ever have a chance to go there, it's a human experience. Everyone has their assumptions about anything, about everyone. And at the end, yes, I think that Niecy and Mickey have always carried their integrity from the beginning. Even though Mickey has said the rich word in the movie and she wants to this and this, that's just talk. Really what she wants is that security and that love story. That's really what she wants. And they've always kept their integrity. You would see each time that, like the very first time, tell me what your grandmother told you about this place or whatever. She talks about the trees. I don't know. But you see Mickey, she's drinking the water. She's drinking the water. She's drinking the water. She doesn't say anything. Because if they were really scammers, if they were really fast talkers, I'll bring you back to Malcolm X. He's always, in the beginning, he's always got something because he's a hustler. These women are not hustlers. They are truly genuine women. They, when they go out to the restaurant and Niecy's saying, this food is not all that. You should have had Mickey in the kitchen. And then the older guy, the old man asked Niecy about something else, about the grandmother. And she just starts filling her face with the grapes or whatever. And she's not lying. You can't lie if your mouth is full, right? So I like that all of those little areas where they could have lied, they didn't. They effectively either changed the thing or just said something that made him assume something, which was good. And I think that was because he obviously knows. And so I wouldn't say testing. I would just say that he's also has an intuition that they're good people. And he's been surrounded by crap people. So he can tell the difference. I tell you, I really, really liked it. I think it was really, really put together. Your guys' podcast is really amazing. I don't know if my opinion goes anywhere. You don't know me from anyone. But I do believe that this movie did help the cause just because it helped Halle Berry basically be able to pick and choose what she wanted to use as her next adventure in her acting career. I think that this movie allowed her to say, I've already played that type of role. I've already done this. I've already done that. So she was able to pick and choose, and that got her that Oscar. And I know that it seems like Robert Townsend did a disjustice to her and to black women. No, but I don't think it was that. I think it was just more of we're in your face right here. We're going to do the movies that you're not going to do. We're going to do it first. So then if you decide that you want to do it, it's already been done. You can't do it. It's funny you're coming from us. We're already black and we're going to be doing our own movie. We're not going to let you do the movie and really be bad. Now, if it was, Robert Townsend, and he didn't make movies like that, and that was his first movie, then that would have been a different thing. But he's already had Hollywood Shuffle, and this is just like a female version of a Hollywood Shuffle. Also do think that it helps because it brings up questions for those of us that can relate. I'm watching it with my best friend who's black, but if we have other friends that aren't, we have friends that they know that they can ask us questions like, why are you laughing at that? Why is that so funny? And then we can add, okay, I see why that's funny. So that opens up that conversation so other people can say, I can understand that. All right. Because they didn't grow up that way. Other thing that I wanted to bring up was Halle Berry going through all of her transitions into Hollywood. She went to Miss USA, and I liked that. What is that one song? In Miss USA, they did the song, the Annie Lennox song, Sisters Are Doing It For Themselves. So that was their intro. And that song was such an influential song for all of the 90s. If you were a woman, sisters are doing it for them. That was the anthem. And in the 80s, I think it was 89, or I might have it flipped in my brain, it might be 86, Patti LaBelle had a song, New Attitude. And if you watch that video, I think it's in the second chorus, she's got this hat, and it looks like her hair, but it's this big hat thing. And then she sings about it. She said something about noobs up, new hats, new shoes, something, new hat. And she does a little thing. That hair looks eerily familiar to what Mickey had on her head with the booyah. It was like a extra Patti LaBelle New Attitude hair. So I had that vision of when, right before, the night before, when they're getting ready for their airplane trip to Hollywood, that they've got this song on the record player or on the radio or whatever, New Attitude, and she's doing Mickey's hair in this big booyah thing because they've got a new attitude. They're bringing it on. So I really, really like this movie. I liked B.A.P.S. It took me back to me and my girlfriend's days, and we finally go off to college and have all these different experiences. I really, really liked it. Thanks for that podcast. It really did bring it out. I shared it with my friends and my sister. We did rent it on Blockbuster, and we had a giggle. It was funny. So take care and keep up the podcast. You guys are doing wonderfully.